in, and this one does, and watch the reaction. Her previous 5 games, she was
talking with their player development coach yesterday as Bueckers buries the jumper.
Team USA already has its ticket to Berlin, but the real shocker is who gets the keys before takeoff. And 2 names are forcing USA basketball into conversations it wasn't planning to have this early.
Lee Aru the other night had a season-high 18 points. Here's Boston turning the corner, dishing to Hull, extra feed Clark, a deep 3. You bet!
told us before the game.
Team USA enters the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup qualifiers in a position that almost feels unnatural for international basketball. They are already qualified. The pressure of survival is gone. The urgency of elimination does not exist. Yet somehow, the stakes feel higher than ever. Because when winning is guaranteed, evaluation becomes ruthless, and the spotlight shifts from results to decisions. That is exactly where Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers step into the frame. The qualifiers begin on March 11th in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and officially, the United States is there to prepare, not to prove. Unofficially, this window has become a stress test for the future of the program. Every minute on the floor is an audition. Every roster spot signals direction. Every omission sends a message. And in the middle of all that are two players who represent not just talent, but a generational turning point.
And he actually brought up stats from a shooting slump Steph Curry went through. She said that made her feel a lot better. That pass will as well, right on the money to Mitchell.
Caitlin Clark's presence alone changes the conversation. Her relationship with USA basketball is not new, but her leverage is. She has already climbed through the youth pipeline, collecting gold medals and quietly absorbing the reality that only a handful of players ever reach the senior level. That reality used to feel distant. Now it feels immediate. Clark is no longer an experiment or a long-term project. She is a market mover, a ratings magnet, and a tactical challenge all at once. What makes Clark's situation especially intriguing is timing. She is coming off an injury-shortened WNBA season that forced her to grow in ways box scores never show. Fewer games, more watching, more learning, more leadership without control. That experience has sharpened her awareness of how limited opportunities can be at the international level. You do not get unlimited chances with Team USA, you get moments. Clark understands that now more than ever.
Azura keeps it alive. Here's Bueckers, a deep one. Is good! Paige Bueckers from Caitlin Clark.
USA basketball also understands something else. When Clark is on the floor, spacing changes. Defensive schemes bend. International teams that normally pack the paint are forced to stretch beyond their comfort zone. That is not theoretical. It has already shown up in camps, scrimmages, and closed-door sessions where coaches quietly take notes while pretending it is just another drill. But hold on and smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to like, my friends. Paige Bueckers complicates the equation in a different way. Her talent has never been questioned. Her health narrative has already reshaped her career. Now her schedule adds another layer of uncertainty.
The air gives Caitlin Clark the target, barely over the fingertips of Hines Allen. Beautiful, beautiful pass, catch, in stride.
Bueckers is actively competing in the Unrivaled 3x3 league, and while the experience is valuable, it places her availability for Puerto Rico in limbo. The championship game is set for March 4th. The qualifiers begin March 11th. That turnaround is brutal, especially for a player whose career has been shaped by load management and careful planning. Behind the scenes, this is creating tension that no press release will acknowledge. USA basketball values commitment. Unrivaled values visibility. Players value autonomy. These priorities do not always align neatly. Bueckers is not avoiding Team USA, but she is navigating a modern reality where elite players no longer orbit a single system. That reality forces USA basketball into uncomfortable decisions about flexibility versus tradition. Then there is the context of evaluation. Because the United States does not need wins in Puerto Rico, these games become something far more revealing. They expose who coaches trust in unfamiliar lineups, who adapts fastest to FIBA officiating, who communicates defensively without constant instruction. Clark excels in these environments because her game is built on reads rather than scripts. Bueckers thrives because she blends seamlessly into structure without disappearing.
As Bueckers gets one to splash. Clark backing down Quinterly. 6 to shoot, fading away, and dropping it in. Beautiful.
The question is not whether either player is good enough. The question is what USA basketball wants to prioritize right now. On, do they reward continuity with veterans who already understand international systems? Or do they accelerate the transition toward the next era, knowing that LA 28 is closer than it feels? Veteran voices like Kelsey Plum have been clear about what this stage offers younger players: exposure to different styles, physicality without theatrics, officiating that does not reward exaggeration. These are environments where weaknesses are exposed quickly. Clark's physical durability has been questioned unfairly by critics, but internationally, that narrative tends to evaporate. The game is slower, the reads are sharper, strength matters, but intelligence matters more. Bueckers' versatility also becomes more valuable on the FIBA stage. Her ability to guard multiple positions, slide between roles, and score without dominating the ball fits seamlessly into Team USA's traditional identity. The challenge is not fit, it is logistics. And logistics have a way of influencing decisions more than talent ever should. There is another layer that rarely gets discussed openly: marketing pressure. Team USA does not operate in a vacuum anymore. Broadcast partners care about storylines. International tournaments care about visibility. Clark and Bueckers are not just players, they are symbols of where women's basketball is headed. Their presence in Puerto Rico would amplify attention around games that otherwise might feel like formalities. That does not mean selections will be made for optics alone, but it does mean optics exist in the room, whether acknowledged or not. And when a program is preparing for LA 28 on home soil, every public-facing decision carries weight. The absence of Kara Lawson on the sidelines adds another wrinkle. With NCAA commitments pulling her attention elsewhere, the qualifiers will not have the full leadership structure expected for a program in transition. That opens space for players to define tone internally. Clark has already shown she can do that. Bueckers has lived that responsibility at every level she has played. What happens if Clark suits up and Bueckers does not? The narrative writes itself. What happens if both play limited minutes? Another conversation starts. What happens if neither appears? That would be the loudest message of all, signaling that USA basketball is prioritizing health, continuity, and long-term planning over short-term intrigue. No matter the outcome, these qualifiers represent a quiet pivot point, not because medals are on the line, but because identity is. The era of automatic dominance is giving way to intentional dominance. Team USA is no longer just stacking talent, it is sculpting fit, chemistry, and sustainability. Clark's journey through the USA pipeline has prepared her for this moment. She knows how rare these opportunities are. She knows how quickly narratives can shift. And she knows that every camp, every qualifier, every roster decision feeds into a bigger picture that ends in Berlin and stretches toward Los Angeles. Bueckers understands that picture too. Her path has been less linear, more fragile, and arguably more revealing. She represents resilience, adaptability, and restraint in a sport that often rewards excess. Whether she appears in Puerto Rico or not, her presence looms over the conversation because her ceiling remains undeniable. As Team USA lines up against Spain, Italy, Puerto Rico, and others, fans will watch for wins. Insiders will watch for rotations. Coaches will watch for habits. And everyone will watch Clark and Bueckers whether they are on the floor or not, because their absence would speak just as loudly as their presence. This is what happens when generational talent collides with institutional power. Decisions stop being simple. Silence becomes strategic. And every move hints at what the future is going to look like. The qualifiers may not decide a champion, but they will reveal priorities. And Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers are at the center of that choice. So, let us know your views in the comments below.